Are you a new music artist looking to release your music into the world? Or maybe you're already releasing music, but you're not 100% happy with your current music distributor? Well, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the top 8 music distributors and seeing which ones are the best and ultimately picking a winner so that you can make sure you are getting the most bang for your buck, that you're not wasting your money, you're not missing out on opportunities, that you're actually giving your music the best shot it has to go wide, go far, and generate you the most royalties as possible. Hi, I'm Reagan Ram with Orpheus Audio Academy, and I've been releasing music going back to 2014 when I signed up with my very first music distributor, CD Baby. So I have a lot of experience with this, and I've been wanting to make this video for a long time, but I kept putting it off just because of the sheer amount of research that was required to go into this. So we're going to look at these right now and figure out which one is the best. Just want to give you a full disclosure. I am an affiliate for a few of the companies that I mention in this video, and this video is also specifically sponsored by Landr, who is one of the distributors, but I'm giving my complete honest review in this video here, as I always do in my videos. And I have personally used CD Baby, DistroKid in the past, and I'm currently using Landr for my own music. By the way, if you do decide to sign up with one of these, make sure you save yourself some money, because since I'm an affiliate, if you use my affiliate link, not only will that save you some money, but that also helps me earn a small commission, which helps support this channel and allows me to feed my 5 children, as yes, I have a very large family. So the top 8 music distributors that I'll be covering in this video are Amuse, CD Baby, DistroKid, Ditto, Landr, Symphonic, TuneCore, and United Masters. All these different companies have multiple plans, so it is kind of hard to compare all of these, but I decided to go with basically the intermediate plan for all these different companies. So maybe not their cheapest, not their most expensive, but kind of the one in the middle, the one that they highlight as being like most popular. Kind of the plan for you if you are deciding to take your music seriously. You're not a hobbyist anymore, and you kind of really want to do things like set a custom release date so you can plan around when your music's going to go live, and you can have a promotion behind it. Maybe you have more artists you want to upload music under. You want to have faster upload times, release time, things like that. Those features, or you want to maybe collect more royalties or not have as many fees taken from you. That's kind of the plans that I'm comparing all these platforms against each other with. There's a whole bunch of other ones out there, but these are kind of some of the major players, the big ones out there. All right, let's get into it. So number one, biggest thing on people's minds, most people's minds, is price. So which one is the best in terms of price? This might seem a little straightforward at first, but it's actually a little bit more complicated as we dive into it here. So well, you can see here that the cheapest one is Symphonic, as you're only paying basically 20 bucks a year to upload your music. So that is pretty good. All the rest are fairly the same. They only differ within like $10, $20 over the course of a year with one another. So that's kind of negligible in my mind. Now, there is some uniqueness that we want to pay attention to here with companies like CD Baby, Landr, and TuneCore, because that gives you the option to have a subscription model where you're paying a yearly fee to upload unlimited music, or you can just do a pay per release model where you're just paying, for example, Landr $9 a single or $25 an album. CD Baby doesn't have any subscription. It's just pay per release. In their case, it's $10 a single, $29 an album, so a little bit more expensive than Landr. So if you're wanting to go the pay per release model, Landr is your best bet. It's the one you should go with. TuneCore also offers that option. It's $23 a year per single, $40 per album, so that's even the most expensive. So if you're doing pay per release, Landr is the winner. So you can see I have Landr of the winner there. If you're looking at yearly subscription, Symphonic is the winner there, as it comes in at the very lowest price. It's basically $20 a year cheaper than everything else. So if you're really that miserly and you want to save yourself 20, 30 bucks over the course of a year, then go with Symphonic. Otherwise, wait till you watch to the end of this video, because I don't think you should be deciding based on saving $20 to $30 whether one distributor is better than another one. Now, a quick note about DistroKid. I used DistroKid for a very long time, and I just recently switched to Landr. It looks pretty cheap compared to a lot of these other ones, but there's a lot of features you don't get with these other plans that you have to pay extra for with DistroKid. I did a full video breaking down these kind of hidden fees with DistroKid, comparing them to Landr, for example, and you can save tons and tons of money. So, for example, DistroKid, you have to pay extra for things like YouTube Content ID, which you just get automatically with Landr and some of these other platforms, which we'll cover in a second. So That's why there's that little asterisk there, is that it's not really that cheap. With DistroKid, if you include all the add-ons and you're choosing their Musician Plus plan, now you're paying $1,609. So now you're saving over $1,300 over the course of 5 years if you're going with landr. So to me, it really almost looks like a no-brainer at this point. So maybe DistroKid's great if you're not planning on using any of the extras, and you're not planning on doing any cover songs, so you're not planning on earning any extra revenue from the YouTube Content ID, you're not as interested in discovery, and you're okay with being locked into paying forever, then you're kind of saving some money. So it's the Musician Plus plan, right? You still want to be able to customize and release. That's $200 versus $24.95. So you're saving yourself $25 over 5 years. $25 over 5 years if you go with the DistroKid Musician Plus plan versus the landr Distribution Pro plan. But you're just losing out on so much, not to mention you can't really, you're limited on doing cover songs because you don't want to rack up just 3 singles or just 3 covers. You're paying $36 a year now. That's like, you've almost doubled your monthly, you've doubled the annual cost now of your plan. All right, how about earnings? So how much of the royalties that are collected do you get to keep? Well, these are basically a tie. All these platforms give you 100% of your royalties, which I really love that, except for CD Baby here. So CD Baby, you actually only get 91%. They take the other 9% of your royalties. So there's not really a winner here, but there is a clear loser. And so for that reason alone, I might kind of nick CD Baby. I also don't really like that they only have pay per release, because they're kind of setting themselves up as more of a platform for hobbyists that aren't going to be releasing a lot of music, don't really but care about getting a lot of streams and earning a lot of royalties, because that does save you money up front, right? If you're not going to be getting a lot of streams, not really going to be growing a fan base, then what's the big deal if they take 9%? But if you're getting hundreds of thousands, millions of streams, then that starts to add up and you're losing quite a bit of money there. So then about distribution, like how many platforms your music is distributed to. Again, I would say this is kind of a tie. Because like how many platforms do you really need to have your music on? You can see all these have between 150 to 200 plus, except for Amuse, right? And so again, there's not really a winner here, but there is kind of a clear loser. They only distribute to 24, which looks bad in comparison to these other ones. But to be fair, and again, I'm not using Amuse. I'm not even an affiliate of Amuse. Amuse. I guess we'll call it Amuse. How many other people are you missing out on? I don't know, maybe a lot, because there's a lot of other platforms. I don't know enough about that, but they do have the major platforms. You're going to get your music on Spotify, Apple Music, and all of that. So I wouldn't say this actually eliminates Amuse, but maybe for you in your mind that does, because you do miss out on a lot of different platforms there. All right, so number of artists. So how many artists can you upload music under with each of these platforms? Meaning if you're in like multiple bands or different projects, artist names, you want to be able to upload music to all these platforms under different names. What are your options with these different platforms? Amuse, it's unlimited. CD Baby, it's unlimited because you're just paying per release anyway, so you can just change the artist name. I think you have to create another account though. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong. I think you might have to create another account. DistroKid, you can upload under 2 artists. Ditto, you get 2 artists. landr, you get 5 artists, so that's pretty big. Of course, unlimited is really great. Symphonic also has unlimited, so I'd kind of say the winners are Amuse and Symphonic. I put CD Baby in there, but I would say not really, because it's, again, you're paying per release, so already it's kind of like not that relevant, because you can just create a new account and pay per release. You're not actually paying an extra monthly fee or yearly fee. The clear loser here is United Masters, as you only get 1. You have to create a whole new account, pay another yearly fee to upload under a different artist, so that is not great. And then with TuneCore, it's an extra $15 per year per extra artist you add on, so that's also something to consider there. Now, real quick, something you might not know, as this is something actually a common question I get, or a common frustration that I see with beginner artists, is you think that, and I made this mistake too, and it's you upload your music using one of these platforms and you think, I'm going to start getting streams just by uploading music to Spotify, Apple, YouTube, what have you. And like, unless it's a cover or something, that's probably not going to be the case. You're not going to be just getting streams automatically. You need to be promoting your music. You need to be getting your music onto things like playlists, maybe running ads. So if you want help getting your music onto Spotify playlists, and if you get your music onto enough of these, you can actually trigger the Spotify algorithm, so then it starts to promote your music for you. So if you want help with that, I have a free guide called my Spotify playlist placement guide, I'll have a link to that in the description below, or you can go to orpheusaudioacademy.com/Spotify playlists. And this walks you through a completely free strategy that you can use to get your music onto more of those playlists so that you can trigger that algorithm and actually start to grow your streams. All right, so continuing on with this video. Ooh, a fancy transition. I went and added those in real quick. So how do these platforms compare in terms of YouTube Content ID? So first off, what is Content ID? So Content ID is basically a digital fingerprint that is put onto your music so that if it appears on YouTube, then each time anyone, plays your music on YouTube or uses part of your music, it tracks it. So it knows your music is being used and you collect royalties from that. So any royalties that are generated on YouTube, those come to you, the artist. So this way, if you have YouTube Content ID and someone uses your music on YouTube, you're not losing out on those royalties that you are owed. And this is just a cool little graphic here by on Ditto Music's website. So how do these platforms compare? So good news, all of these platforms give you access to YouTube Content ID basically for free, except for DistroKid. So kind of a big strike here for DistroKid. So these all kind of tie, but the big loser here is DistroKid because you do have to pay an extra basically $5 a year per release to use YouTube Content ID, and they also still take a 20% cut. And so you can see a lot of these, like landr also gives you YouTube Content ID, but landr takes the 20% cut of those royalties. Symphonic takes 30, TuneCore 20, United Masters 20, CD Baby 30, and Amuse, I think, and Ditto don't take any cut. So I guess those would be the clear winners. I put Ditto and Amuse up there. Really great to always have this, but that's kind of a big strike for DistroKid. And so I just didn't have YouTube Content ID for a long time. I know my music's been used in YouTube videos. I didn't really bother me because I'm like, well, it's exposure for my music, but probably missed out on some royalties because I didn't have that when I was using DistroKid. So then payment splitting. So what if you're collaborating with someone or co-writing or something, and you want to make sure that the person you made the song with, they get royalties as well, right? And it can be, you can do that yourself, right? You collect royalties, then you manually decide, okay, this much is their cut, and you pay them, and you have to keep paying them every month or quarter or whatever. But that can be a pain. So these platforms do give you the ability to have payment splitting, so that automatically the royalties are split up to the different people involved in the creation of the track. So that is really cool. So which platforms offer this? Well, Amuse offers this, and it's no extra cost. So that's pretty cool. And for all these, you typically need the other person to have an account. So that's kind of what this like comma free means. They can sign up for a free account to get part of those cuts. CD Baby just doesn't do this. So that's kind of a big strike against them. I should have highlighted that in red too. United Masters is also bad. We'll get to that in a second. DistroKid does this, yes, but only if they are also using DistroKid. And so if they're not using DistroKid, they can sign up for a DistroKid account and they get a 50% discount. So 50% discount from what their cheapest plan is. That's like $11.50 a year. Not bad, but they're still paying $11.50 a year. Ditto has this, and I'm pretty sure for all these, you have to have, the other person has to have an account. So someone can sign up for free with Ditto. Someone can sign up for free with landr. Someone can sign up for free with Symphonic, TuneCore. Great. So all those platforms are great for payment splitting. United Masters, not so much. Again, you have to be a member, but you have that other person you're collaborating with, they actually have to buy the full member subscription. And I say $59.99, but that might not be right. I think you can probably sign up for their cheaper plan. I just put in that because that's what the middle tier is. But you could sign up for their cheaper plan, but you're still paying, again, a yearly fee. So not great there. A couple strikes against United Masters. All right, cover song licensing. This is huge and a big reason why I switched from DistroKid to landr, because with DistroKid's plan, which is still okay, which I'll go in more detail, but with DistroKid, you have to pay $12 a year to get a cover song license per cover song. And I did that with one cover song, and it's basically getting enough streams every year that I'm breaking even and making like $12 a year from that song on Spotify and YouTube. But really, it's really kind of disincentivized me from really putting out cover songs. So I just didn't really release any other cover songs. With all these other platforms, For example, Amuse, CD Baby, Ditto, Symphonic, TuneCore, they don't have any cover song licensing. However, you can still release cover songs on these platforms. You're just responsible for going and getting the license and getting the proper documentation. So you can go use a tool like Easy Song Licensing or Harry Fox Agency, and you can go find the license yourself and pay for it. And what that license is a mechanical license, because you need that mechanical license to be able to sell digital downloads of your song. If you're just going to be putting your cover out for streaming alone, the law was actually recently changed and you don't need any license for that. So if you are just doing streaming, you don't need to get a license. You can just upload the cover. But if you do want that mechanical license where people actually buy the digital download, then you do need to get that license. So you need to go to one of those companies yourself and get that. And I've tried doing that before, and it's kind of a headache. And I've actually had a hard time like finding the songs I want to make covers of, even though they're kind of like popular songs from the 80s. And so it's kind of nice if a company does kind of do that for you. So DistroKid does do that for you. That's nice. You just pay $12 a year, set it and forget it. You don't have to do anything else. But landr really shines here and kind of blows all these other companies out of the water, because you just pay a one-time $15 fee per cover song, and they handle all that licensing for you. The other thing is you also kind of have to track your sales, because if you generate a certain number of sales, because you're like buying the mechanical license and paying based on how much you think you're going to sell. So if you're selling more, you might have to, update that license. And so it's kind of a pain to keep track of. So it's nice that you have something like landr where you pay a one-time $15 fee and it's just covered for you. So I really love that about landr. United Masters really almost like eliminates them from consideration for me, is they don't allow any cover songs. And cover songs are huge for building a fan base and building an audience. Just look at the band First to 11, because people are actually searching for cover songs. If they've never heard of your band before, your artist before, they're not searching for you on YouTube, on Spotify, and Apple Music, because they never heard of you. But they are looking for these covers. So that's a great way to get discovered. So that's a huge discovery mechanism that's just taken away from you if you're using United Masters. All right, how about speed of delivery? How fast can you get your music onto platforms like Spotify and Apple Music? You can see the different comparison here, and I consider this basically a toss-up. Yes, some are faster than others. For example, CD Baby, DistroKid, Ditto are all saying 1 to 3 days for Spotify. There's such a big range there, it's hard to say. And it's not really big. Like the max is like 7 days. So for all these, you're looking at like 1 to 7 days. So it's really kind of a toss-up. And you generally don't want to be really uploading your music that close to release anyway. You want to give yourself several weeks so you can maybe pitch the Spotify editorial playlists, although those are becoming less important now. I had a full interview with an artist who, at the time of recording, had 4 million monthly listeners on Spotify, and he doesn't even submit to editorial playlists. If you want to watch that full interview, I have that link below, and he talks about his strategy for how he makes a full-time living from his music, mostly just like from Spotify streams. But so yeah, this is kind of a toss-up for times. I know when I used DistroKid, I did upload a song and have it go live the very next day just as an experiment, so that was cool. But otherwise, I wouldn't make this your deal breaker on which platform to choose. All right, this is a big thing that I've not really seen anyone compare on YouTube before, and it's what happens if you cancel or something happens to your credit card. You can no longer make payments, or you decide to prioritize paying the electric bill or groceries over paying for your subscription. What happens to your music? Now, switching isn't a big deal. It's really easy to switch distributors, by the way. So if you're with one distributor, you want to switch to another one, and you want to keep all the playlists your music's on, all the stream counts. This is really easy to do. I did a full video covering how you can easily switch distributors and keep all that data. I'll have that linked in the description below as well. But what happens if you cancel or you can't make a payment or something? Now, I'm sure all these will give you plenty of warning before they actually just take your music down. But if you do just straight up cancel, Amuse is going to just take your music down, right? Understandably, not paying anymore. They're just going to take your music down. CD Baby, you're not having a subscription, so this isn't relevant for CD Baby because you're just paying a one-time fee per release. DistroKid, your music is gone unless you decide to pay $29 per single and $49 per album. And I've seen a lot of people hate on this, like leave a legacy feature with DistroKid, but it's actually better. It's actually better than all these other platforms which don't have anything like that. So that's kind of crazy. So DistroKid's actually pretty good here in this area. Yes, it's kind of pricey if you have a lot of music out there and you decide to stop paying for DistroKid. You do kind of have to put out a lot of money to keep your music out there on the platforms forever, but at least you have the option where you don't get that option. You have to keep paying forever if you want your music to stay on their platforms forever. So same thing with like Ditto, your music may be removed. You're not going to be getting those royalties from your music if it does stay up. This is the clear winner here is landr, because this is amazing. Even if you cancel landr, your music will stay up, number one, and you keep earning. You earn 85%. landr just takes 15% of the royalties. So that's kind of incredible. So landr is awesome there. Symphonic, your music will get taken down. TuneCore taken down. United Masters taken down. So if you want to just concern with the security, long-term security of your music staying up on these platforms, then landr is definitely the best platform for you. Also, just something interesting, just how many users do these platforms have? I got this from an article on Ari's Take. And it looks like DistroKid has the most with 3 million plus. CD Baby has 2 million plus. Ditto 1 million. landr 1.3 million plus. And then you can see Symphonic's pretty small, but I was pretty impressed with a lot of the stuff they offer. And then no data here on Amuse and TuneCore. So with all that in mind, who is the winner? Now there's a ton of other features we could have gone in, like little things. I decided to leave those out. I kind of just wanted to cover the key elements that really should guide your decision making. I don't want to bog you down with a whole bunch of not really useful information. So using the information I just covered, who is the winner? Again, hard to say. It depends on your needs and what you're looking for in your music distributor. I would say they're all pretty good, but for me, I'm looking for a distributor that lets me upload a lot of music, because that's what's helpful for growing a fan base. It's helpful for that. What the algorithms are like right now. You want to be able to upload unlimited music for one low price. And then you want to be able to collect all the royalties, as many royalties as possible that you're owed, without that company taking as little of a cut as possible. You want to be able to do cover songs and release cover songs and make money from cover songs and have that be a reliable strategy. And you want to be able to ensure that your music is going to stay up and not be taken down. Those are kind of important factors to me. So with that in mind, here are my top recommendations. And number one is landr. Probably not a huge surprise, because I mentioned in the beginning that I'm currently using landr for my music. I think they're awesome. Not only do they have a great distributor, I think the number one distributor, but if you sign up for their studio plan and you just pay a little extra, you get tons of plugins. You get tons of samples. It's basically like having a Splice subscription. Plus you get tons of plugins. Plus you get collaboration tools. You get tons and tons of courses on music marketing and music production. And you get really cool, awesome mastering tools that are like the best AI mastering tools out there to really help you save a lot of time and produce great quality music. So I think landr is fantastic. And if you want to get landr and save 20% off your first year, just go to orpheusaudioacademy.com/landr. And then number two, I'd probably say is Symphonic. I've never used Symphonic, so take that with maybe a grain of salt. I have used DistroKid, which is number three. I hope they're reputable. They're on the smaller side, as we saw in terms of users, but they are very affordable. They let you upload unlimited music, and they let you collect the royalties that you're owed. So that is pretty good. Then honorable mention, I would say Ditto. It's kind of a toss-up between Ditto and DistroKid at number three, because DistroKid is just really kind of one of the top dogs. It's well-known, well-used, trusted, but does have a lot of those extra fees. You don't get YouTube Content ID. That's an extra thing you have to pay for per release. Ugh. Cover songs, really. So there's kind of some big deal breakers for me with DistroKid, but I put it at number three just because of its reputation. I have used it before. I haven't used Ditto before. And then what I would not recommend would be United Masters. There's too many big strikes against them. You can't do any cover songs. You can't even get your own license and upload cover songs. It's pretty expensive. You can't really do payment splitting unless someone else signs up for a yearly subscription. So that's really prohibitive there. So I would probably say don't use United Masters. So kind of another way of looking at these winners, I would say the best just overall platform is landr for all the reasons we covered. The best in price is, I would say, Symphonic, because you're going to be saving like $25 a year over landr, which is so small that I wouldn't even really look at that. But I also put landr on here because you also have the best pay per release option, and even their yearly subscription fee is pretty darn affordable, and you get a ton with their cheaper plan. I was comparing their middle tier plan. You can sign up with their cheaper plan and you still get things like YouTube Content ID. You still get a ton of stuff. You just don't get like as many artists you can release under. So they're kind of basically the same at that point if you just go with the cheaper landr plan. So I kind of have them tied there. Maybe even landr's a little better than Symphonic actually because of that pay per release option. And best for cover songs, landr by a mile. Best for a large number of artists. Maybe you're like basically a label and you're going to upload tons of music. Symphonic's probably best for you because you can have unlimited artists. And then just best for music security. You know your music's going to stay up for a long time. You don't have to worry about it being taken down. landr is the best for you there as well. So all these key areas, I think landr is the clear winner. So again, if you're going to sign up for one of these distributors, make sure you save yourself some money and use my affiliate link if you're going to sign up again, or if you use audioacademy.com/landr if you want to save 20% off your first year. I mentioned earlier you get a ton of awesome different benefits if you actually sign up for the landr Studio plan, where you can get plugins, samples, collaboration tools, courses, and a whole bunch more. If you're interested in that and knowing if that's worth it for you, then check out my video on the screen right now where I did a full breakdown of landr Studio and everything that is involved so you can see if that's worth it for you. So go ahead and check that out now.